Have you ever wondered how businesses keep track of their production, especially when some items are only partially finished? It's a bit like trying to figure out how many cookies you've baked when you've got a batch in the oven and some dough still waiting to go in. This is where the concept of equivalent units of production, or EUP, comes into play. It's a crucial tool in accounting and manufacturing, and understanding it can really help clarify how companies measure their output and manage their costs. So, what exactly is an equivalent unit of production? Simply put, it's a way to express partially completed items in terms of fully completed units. Imagine you're running a factory that makes bicycles. You've got some bikes that are fully assembled and ready to hit the road, but you also have a few that are still missing wheels or handlebars. EUP helps you quantify how many complete bikes you could have produced based on the work that's already been done on those incomplete ones. Now, let's dive into how you actually calculate EUP. It's a straightforward process, but it requires a bit of attention to detail. First, you need to identify the units of production you want to measure. Are you looking at finished bikes, or are you focusing on those that are still in progress? Next, you determine the degree of completion for those partially finished units. This is usually expressed as a percentage. For instance, if you have 200 bikes that are 80% complete, that means they need just a little more work before they're ready to roll. Once you have that percentage, you convert those partially completed units into equivalent units. This involves a simple multiplication. Take the number of partially completed units and multiply it by their degree of completion as a decimal. So, in our bike example, 200 bikes at 80% completion would give you 160 equivalent units. Finally, you add those equivalent units to the number of fully completed units. If you had 800 fully completed bikes, your total equivalent units would be 960. It's a neat way to visualize how much work has been done and how much more is needed. Now, why is understanding EUP so important? For starters, it plays a vital role in accurate inventory valuation. Businesses need to know the true value of their inventory at different stages of production. If you only consider the fully completed items, you might miss out on the value of those partially completed units, which can lead to poor decision-making down the line. EUP is also essential for cost accounting, especially in industries where production is continuous and involves multiple stages. By calculating EUP, businesses can determine the cost of producing a product more accurately, which is crucial for pricing strategies and resource allocation. Think about it. If you know exactly how much it costs to produce each bike, you can set a price that ensures you're making a profit while still being competitive in the market. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some challenges and disadvantages to using EUP as well. For one, calculating EUP can be complex, especially in industries where products go through multiple production stages. Keeping track of partially completed units can be a daunting task, and any mistakes in calculation can lead to inaccurate results. Plus, it can be time-consuming. You have to track units at each stage of production and apply conversion factors, which can take away time from other important tasks. Another thing to consider is that EUP might not always reflect actual costs. For example, if there are defects in production or if some units need rework, those costs might not be captured in the EUP calculation. It's also worth noting that EUP is most useful in industries where products are manufactured through several stages. In simpler production processes, it might not provide much benefit. Despite these challenges, the advantages of using EUP far outweigh the disadvantages. It allows for improved accuracy in measuring production output and helps businesses manage their inventory levels more effectively. By having a clearer understanding of how many units are partially completed, managers can make informed decisions about which products to prioritize and how to allocate resources efficiently. Let's talk about some best practices for accurately calculating EUP. First and foremost, companies should have clearly defined processes in place. This ensures that all production units are accounted for and minimizes the chances of errors. Accurate record keeping is crucial too. businesses need to maintain detailed records of all inputs and outputs, including raw materials and labor costs, to get a true picture of their production processes. Regular inventory counting is another key practice. By keeping track of how many goods are in progress and how many are finished, companies can avoid over or under-reporting their equivalent units. And speaking of consistency, using the same units of measure over time is vital for accurate comparisons. It helps everyone understand the numbers more easily and ensures that calculations are precise. Now, let's not forget about the unique challenges posed by different industries. In manufacturing, for instance, EUP calculations might involve various costs like direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. In mining, you might measure equivalent production units based on weight or volume rather than the number of units produced. And in agriculture, equivalent production units could be based on crop yield or livestock weight. Each industry has its own nuances, but the fundamental concept of EUP remains the same. In conclusion, understanding equivalent units of production is essential for anyone involved in manufacturing or accounting. It's a powerful tool that helps businesses measure their production output and manage their costs effectively. By accurately calculating EUP, managers can make informed decisions about pricing, resource allocation, and inventory management, ultimately leading to a more profitable business. So next time you think about production processes, remember that behind the scenes, there's a lot of calculation and strategizing going on to ensure everything runs smoothly. Whether it's baking cookies or manufacturing bicycles, understanding how to quantify partially completed work can make all the difference in achieving success.